missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone. Love with heart.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren. For those guys who are new, I go by Locks by Lauren on Instagram, and today I'm going to be taking this beautiful client into pretty much the opposite of the color wheel right now. She has a pretty much faded color that we did I want to say 3 or 4 months ago, and it faded to kind of like a greenish tone on the very top. So to help cancel this out, we're going to be going on the opposite side, and we are going to be putting more so of like a pink color. We are doing like a sunset color melt on her, so I'm going to lighten up her roots and then apply the Pulp Bright semis right on top. So I am going in with some Blonde Me Schwarzkopf lightener, and I started off with some 6 and 20 and then bumped it up to 20 volume for the rest of the head all the way around. And as I'm weaving, I am trying to pick out the dark that I left out last time and just highlighting whatever needs to be highlighted. So whenever you're doing creative color, there's 2 ways to approach it. You could either do balayage slash highlight your client's hair, or you can do more of like a bleach and tone and then put the semis right on top. A lot of times though, I like to do more of like a balayage slash highlight on my clients that have particularly darker levels of hair. This just makes the creative color tone a little bit of a lower maintenance color, because if I were to do more of a bleach and tone where everything is pretty much solid, if my client's hair is naturally very dark, it's very important to come in every 4 to 6 weeks if you're doing a bleach and tone. But since we're doing more of like a highlight and lived in like balayage look, she's able to wait every like maybe 3 or 4 months before we need to like retouch up the color. And then this just makes it a little bit lower maintenance, and they can enjoy the fade as well. You can also see from like the back bottom area, some of that color there is still very vibrant. So I'm going to be working with a color that isn't going to really like cover that too much, but just blend it all together. So even though like creative colors, they do tend to fade very fast, I always like to recommend my clients to get like a color balm that I can make them like a custom color mask that helps refresh your color at home, so that in cases like these where it fades a bit green, she could have refreshed it with like a color balm at home or in between appointments when her roots are growing out and she's waiting that 3 or 4 months in between touch-ups. So you'll notice as I'm highlighting her hair, if I feel that the dark that I'm weaving and highlighting is a bit longer than that mid fold of the foil, then I will just place another foil right on top, because I don't want the lightener to move and overlap onto the previous blonde area. So if I feel like it's higher than that midpoint of where the foil folds in the middle, then I'll go ahead and fold it like how I've been folding it 2 times up. But if it is longer, again, I just like to lay a foil right on top, because anytime you fold the foil on top of hair that has lightener on it, sometimes it can make it move. So here the hair was a little bit longer than that midpoint, so I am folding and placing a foil right on top so that the lightener doesn't move around. And on the top here, I do like to leave just like a paper thin slice of negative space, just to make it so that her grow out is a little bit softer now that her mids and ends are a bit more solid. So whenever I'm doing a creative color tone where I'm highlighting or balayaging like this, I do like to lift my client's hair to at least like a level 9 and 10. This just makes it easy for me in the future. Like let's say she wants to do more of a pastel tone, it makes it easy because I won't have to pick out the pieces of these previous highlights that I've done, since they're already at that nice level where she can wear her hair at a lighter tone. But since we're doing more of a vibrant tone too, this color will make it last a lot longer and she can enjoy the fade of it since it is lifted so light. So that is generally why I like to lift my client's hair, especially when I'm doing like a highlight or balayage all the way up to a level 9 and 10. But if I was doing more of a bleach and tone where everything was solid and we were doing more of a vibrant tone, sometimes I don't lift it all the way because it's a lot easier to go back and touch up a solid bleach and tone rather than picking up a dimensional balayage or highlight. So moving on to the fun part, I'm going to be mixing up the Pulp Bright semis for her creative color tone. For the root, I'm using just Jam Straight since we're going to be creating like a sunset tone. So the root's going to be Jam, which is like a pinkish purple, and then that mid-tone will be Cupid and Blush. I'm making more of like a medium toned pink. Cupid is more of like a hot pink, and then Blush is the pastel pink. And then for the very ends, since it's going to be that sunset color, I'm going to be using just Lava, which is part of the Neon collection, just straight. And Lava does have slight tones of pink in it, so that is also why I ended up just using Lava straight. And then here are what the colors look like on a swatch. So I began to apply Jam, which is the pinkish purple, at the very root, and I'm just doing like a baby root for this color. I want most of the hair to show the pink tone and the orange tone on the mids and ends. So this was just kind of to tie the color together at the very top and have everything have a nice blend into that sunset vibe. And since I'm using the Pulp Bright semis, they are conditioner based, so if you let them sit for too long, they do start to harden. So once I do the full left front side of her head, by just basting it, I do like to just go ahead and start blending in the other colors together, just so that since we're doing more of like that ombre color melt, it gives a very soft transition rather than like a harsh transition. So I'm gonna go back in with my pink tone, and I'm doing the front hair just to make sure that I fully saturate everything. So I'm going in with that Cupid and Candy and melting that together, and then right after that just putting the Lava right on the ends. This is going to give a very soft color melt throughout these three colors. So another helpful tip whenever using the semitones is to take very thin sections. Here I probably take a 1/4 inch section and just make sure that I'm putting enough product. If you feel like the product is starting to turn white, you're overworking the product in, and sometimes it can lose some pigment. So if you feel the need to add more product, definitely add some more and fully saturate. So here I'm just adding in that pink and melting that into this back section, and since that area is super pink already, I'm just trying to mostly saturate where it's blonde and leave the areas where it's already pink. And then once I'm done with all of that, I'm going to be applying the Lava. And another great tip too when applying the semis is to brush back and forth and make sure that you're spreading the color and spreading the hair around when you're applying the color as well. So as I'm getting towards the back here in the nape area of her neck, I am just applying Lava just to melt that root color, which is Jam, because she already has some leftover pink from the last color that we did for that mid-tone. So again, I'm just blending in the Lava on the mids and ends into that previous pink color. And I always like to try and work with what my client has, especially if we're doing a creative color tone. Just to try and avoid doing like blank canvas or something, and just work with what they have going on. So since she already had that pink in there, this was perfect to add on, and so that this is going to fade all well together. And so I didn't make the colors too vibrant and dark. I made them pretty much similar to whatever level and tone the back part of her head was. And since creative color tones, they tend to fade very fast, so the first place that you'll notice if you do have a creative color tone where it fades the fastest is around your face and like your hairline. That's because the hair around your hairline is a bit finer, so those kind of don't grab onto the color as well as the hair in the back. The hair in the back here is a lot more coarser. And in addition to that, your hair in the back here doesn't see as much sunlight as it does in the front. So that's another reason why, because sometimes the sunlight can make the color fade a bit faster. But also when you're washing your hair, the water is mostly directed on the top of your head, and it doesn't really hit the bottom back here as much as it does on the top when you're washing. So that's another reason why sometimes the hair color will start to fade around the face first, opposed to the back. And then once I was done applying the creative color tone, I let this process at room temperature for about 25 minutes and just rinsed with some ice cold water. Alrighty guys, so here is my finished look. You can see this beautiful sunset pink tone that we did. I love how the jam at the very top gives a nice shadow root into the pink, and you can see how even though we use the neon orange, which is lava from the Pulp Bright Semis line, it does have that slight pinkish tone, so it gives a slight coral feel, which I absolutely loved with this color. And you can also see from the way that we weaved her hair today that she is going to have a very soft and seamless grow out with this hair color. And as this starts to fade, even though she had that green on the underneath, it should cancel everything out. And I would assume that this color fades into like a nice pastel pink and into like a blondish tone. Alrighty guys, so that is it for this week's episode, and thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and I will talk to you guys next week.